What's up, Kyrie?
We literally are created for to be social beings, for human interaction.
That's why this podcast is about bridging the gaps between the generations.
That's important to just protect your peace, because people's energies can just be a lot sometimes.
So much insecurity in this world, and how we are so broken.
It starts with accepting yourself. I feel like it's also celebrating and emphasizing the things that are important in life, and also a lot of things that get overlooked.
Kyrie, identity runs deep, and this is why one part of our show is self-awareness. It's the Kyrie and Denry in the mornings. Maybe we'll get to that point. Have you not felt yourself lately overwhelmed with grief, overwhelmed by your failures, tired of being tired, feeling like giving up, or you're gonna lose it? Well, you're not the only one. And on today's episode, Kyrie and I discuss what does it mean to be human, specifically dealing with mental health. Join us.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to KDGXYZ Radio. I'm so glad to have you guys with us. Welcome to, I want to say our first episode, but it's not. But this will be our first episode back with our season in full effect.
Yep.
Hello to my amazing co-host, Denry the Overcomer. How you doing?
Yes, sir. What's up, Kyrie? What's up? We are back in the stew. I didn't know we turned big time already. You said our radio. We big time, baby, ladies and gentlemen. We are big time. We are certified, grade A certified. We on the radio now. According to Kyrie.
That's how it feels. So we're gonna bring that same energy. Keep that same energy.
Yeah. So Kyrie, what we talking about for this as we start this season and we rocking? We thank y'all for listening and promoting our election, test. We were testing it out, and we've been in the studio working. Kyrie's been working me like a Hebrew slave. Making sure I got. You see the graphics, you see the music, everything. So we just want to make sure everything is perfect for you all, so you can get the message. So we can bridge the gap between the two not the two generations, all the generations, right?
3, the 4, 5, all day.
Yeah. All of you who are still out there alive, and those who are coming in the future.
So thanks if you guys did check out our voting episode, and if you didn't, you should definitely go check that out because it's still relevant. And make sure you share the podcast, share the message, and definitely leave us feedback. So today, as we're back like we never left, I want to talk about what's human and what it means to be human. What's human to others may not be so human to others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I do feel like as the human race and as people, there are just some common ground that we should all just be on the same page about. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, when we're not on the same page, we should still agree to disagree and have a common level of respect for each other, right? Just to be living in harmony. Because it may not be like that, right? But that would be ideal, right? Everybody working and living harmoniously in a perfect world, right? But in light of everything going on in the news, on TV, and everything like that, I could definitely say that first things first, the Olympics has definitely done some things to shock me this year on multiple occasions, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Not just only the wins, the goals, shout out to my country, Jamaica, and all that for representing the track and field, breaking records. Not
Mm-hmm.
only did they add new sports, we also had representatives from. I mean, even you had transgender in the
Mm-hmm.
Olympics this year. And that's an interesting topic to talk about in the future. But shout
Mm-hmm.
outs to those who participated. But we had some. I will let you go ahead and word this properly, Kyrie. We had some things that we want to talk about. We had some things that are basically now in the limelight that we want to
Right,
talk
right.
about.
And so, starting with our girl, because we are still rooting for her,
Oh yeah,
Sha'Carri Richardson. Okay, she came and caught us all by surprise and took the world by storm with her speed. Definitely being so young. Like I literally remember being in my room in the middle of the night looking at her YouTube videos because I wanted to see her race. I wanted to see what they were talking about,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I was literally watching a video on YouTube like her feet are barely touching the ground, if they are. Like she was
yeah.
running on air, literally,
Hmm.
very, very fast. And I commend her for doing so, looking flawless. Because period, like why not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
She's fast. Homegirl's fast. Shorty's
yeah,
fast. Yeah,
fast. And she was only 21, a freshman at LSU, so she
yeah,
definitely was only just beginning. She's
yeah,
still
yeah,
just beginning. She hasn't even got to her prime yet, you know. So I'm rooting for her, and it sucked that she kind of had that. We all had that rug snatched from under our feet when it came out that she tested positive for marijuana in her system.
yeah,
I believe right after, probably right before one of her races
yeah,
that
yeah,
was finalizing her for the Olympics. And that definitely sucked, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? But let's also note how she did lose her biological mother right around this time. I think a few days, if not a week before
Hmm.
this whole thing came out into the news.
Yeah,
And it was very emotional. You know, we saw the clips of her running in the stands to give her grandma a hug. And, you know, they're like, oh, well, let's see. Will they still let her race? I know the hashtag was going around, let Sha'Carri race.
yeah,
And she was not able to.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
then just a few days later, if not in the same week, I remember seeing on my same timeline that was talking about Sha'Carri Richardson that there are other
hmm,
Olympians and a I was going to say soccer track star, a soccer star
yeah,
who there was actually a cannabis conference at the Olympics, and they were highlighting how they have cannabis in their training routines.
yeah, 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 yeah. That it's the double standards there.
That's the
Yeah,
biggest oxymoron of 2021, probably.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so
Well,
and yeah, and so it's it you I just wanted to give some clarity here. You mentioned, we'll go back to Miss Richardson,
yes.
the future. I'm gonna call her the future. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
everything happens on this timeline. Um, she ran the qualifying race for the Olympics, and she made it. She made it, and that's when
Mhm.
she ran into the stand. And in the interview, she mentioned she had found out that her biological mother died the night before.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? The night before. And then
Wow.
fast forward like a week later, they find THC in her system,
Mhm.
right? Whether or not she did it smoked it before or after, I'm not sure. But
Right.
going with our topic in dealing with mental health, dealing with mental health, and then now other athletes, like you said, mentioned, came out supporting and said, hey,
Mhm.
um, you know, we Megan's one of them who came out and said, hey, um we use it, I use it, so there's that double standards, that's once again.
You
And
said what star came out and said that?
Megan, I don't
Megan Thee
know, I ain't
Stallion.
gonna say her last name, I don't want to mess it up.
Megan Thee Stallion. That Megan.
It's not Megan Stallion.
Oh, okay,
Megan
okay.
is Rapion. I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
how you
Another
say it.
athlete.
She is the U.S. soccer
Got it.
superstar. Saying, and she's the one who mentioned that she used it and other athletes use it.
And not to
So
mention the other athlete who had they found steroids in her system, and she was
yes,
only suspended for two
2 weeks,
weeks.
2 weeks,
And that was actually a performance enhancing drug. Now,
2 weeks.
of course, people may have their own opinions or beliefs or views on THC, giving them some kind of edge, as we spoke
Yeah.
about before.
Yeah.
But I still think that's a crack of malarkey, period. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you can take something that's prescription or over the counter to ease your nerves as well, And she was in a state where that's legal. So in her predicament, in her situation, that kind of was her over the counter. It might not have been over counter at a store, but over somebody's counter. And I say all that to say, you can't judge somebody with what they're going through and how they handle grief at the same time. It did suck that she was receiving so much attention and she was going into the limelight with her stardom and everything like that. But at the end of the day, and as her tweet said, and I commend her even more for that, she's human.
Yeah.
Not perfect, and she's going to make mistakes, and that's exactly what that tweet said. And I'm so glad that Nike didn't take away her sponsorship or anything like that, and that she's still thriving. And that was just a sticky situation. I think it was a big spit in the face, in our face, like as people of color and her and people who supported her, to say, okay, we're not going to let you race because we found it in your system, but we will have a conference talking about the good things about cannabis.
So once again, it's the hypocrisy of our country and of our world, and whether it's a black or white thing, we're not even going to dive into that today because we want to focus on mental health, especially in our communities, blacks, Hispanic, West Indian, you name it, minority communities, and handling it. And whether she was dealing with a mental health issue and she was taking the cannabis to deal with that, the grieving, or so, we're not sure, but we know in our culture, in our communities, a lot of our young people and older people too, let's not get it right, that's why we're doing a generational gap, participating in cannabis use, or some people use prescription drugs, and then some people use the non-prescriptional street pharmacy drugs to deal with things like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, all this, whether it's mental health or mental illness. And so our people deal with it. Some people drink themselves to death, sadly, because they just can't deal with it. They can't deal with it. When we saw another example talking about the Olympics, Simone Biles. Simone Biles, phenomenal, the greatest of all time. Let's just tell her what it is.
Right. When that brings me to my next point of dealing with those issues in your mind on a healthier scale. You know what I'm saying? Definitely considering that, all biases aside, no matter how much I love her, that was something that was going to jeopardize her, stardom. So moving forward after making those mistakes, it's like, okay, and speaking from someone who has, had not the most healthy vices when I'm dealing with things, definitely mentally and emotionally. Okay, what do we do to make healthier decisions going forward? And that's why I definitely commend Simone Biles in this situation, because she could have chose to do something that's like maybe a temporary fix, what drugs are. It's a temporary fix or just a feel good for the moment. But she decided to drop out completely because of the things that she was dealing with and how it was affecting her mental health. And her situation is a little unfortunate to me as well, because we wanted to see her win, just like Kyrie. We wanted to see her win, and it was snatched from her in a different light. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was nothing illegal or anything going on, but they just felt like, or what it looked like is that they felt like she was too good. You know what I'm saying? So, she had created those moves, and me and my sister still are going over back and forth over the fact it was her Biles. Is it 5 flips or 6? Because it's the move. It's a move where there's something called a triple double, and I'm like, no, she does 3 flips. She does a set 3 flips twice, and my sister says no, she does 3 flips and then 2 flips, so it's 5. And I'm like, no, it's 6. But either way, the move is super cool. And so what they would do is, let me make sure I don't say this incorrectly. They would give her high points on difficulty, but low points on execution.
Yeah,
and I might have that mixed up. But either way, they weren't giving her the highest score that they could because they didn't, as they say, quote, they didn't want other gymnasts to be encouraged to go out there and try their moves because they were so difficult and someone could potentially hurt themselves.
Yeah.
Another crack of malarkey.
it just make tell what it is. She was making it, and not she was intentionally making it. She was going beyond the best. You know what I'm saying? Before it was Gabby and others, and she just when the last at
Creative new
Rio
movies. Like
at Rio,
there's nothing
yeah.
else I can do, you know?
At Rio, she really just took the world by storm. Like, yo, who's this girl? And everybody was talking about Gabby, and then her, another young black
Mm-hmm.
lady. She's shorter too, and you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying. And then she just created this technique, and her moves were so difficult
Mm-hmm.
that like you said, they were like, man, we got to try to see it any way we can cram her just to be normal because
Mm-hmm.
she's so superior, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't want we don't want to look bad for our other young ladies. You know what I'm saying? Just
Mm-hmm.
tell them what it is. They didn't want it to look bad for the other young ladies. So whether it's the difficulty or the execution, she was getting more not penalty. I don't want to say the term right. I'm not an expert in the gymnast arena. Talk to me about track now. We could talk all day. But she did not. They did not want her to look so superior
Mm-hmm.
over the other gymnasts.
Mm-hmm.
But that was part of the pressure. But because she was on top, we all know, and there's a lot of pressure there. And
Mm-hmm.
so she had her mental illnesses that she was dealing with, the pressure of being on top, post COVID, everything,
Mm-hmm.
not having people in the stands like it's used to. They said the regiments were more difficult this time around
Mm-hmm.
than normal Olympics
Mm-hmm.
because of the COVID. They got to be mad. You know what I'm saying? All these things. It was a lot of pressure on Shorty, and
Mm-hmm.
so Shorty came after she did in a trial. She didn't complete her turns properly. She walked over to her coach and her team and said, "Listen, I'd rather that you all win. And if I stay in it, I'm gonna drag you all down, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna hurt myself." And
Mm-hmm.
that's big. You
Yeah.
talking about the biggest person on the platform? Like when I say big in statues and grant, to say, you
Mm-hmm.
know what, I'd rather step away and bow out
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not mentally here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then another gymnast, a former gymnast rather, who was participated in the late '90s and early 2000s, she said she's glad that she did,
Mm-hmm.
and she wished she did that because she was experiencing the same thing. Think about it. You up in the air, your mind ain't together, and she did that, and she actually broke her neck.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
I
she
can't even do one flip in the air, let alone 5 or 6. So
exactly. And
I
if
can
you and
only
if your mind is not into that, we're not talking about running here. We just
imagine.
run on the,
I
and
can
just
barely
go straight.
even like if my mind is too cloudy, I won't even be able to drive. Like I'll have to stay where I'm at, you know what I'm saying, until I can
Exactly.
calm down, gain my equilibrium.
You're
So I
talking
can
about
only imagine
spinning.
flipping in
Yeah.
the air against gravity.
Exactly.
For gravity, he's no joke.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. So that's a lot of pressure.
It is. And she said that she was doing this for her. You know what I'm saying? So if she's no longer gaining any benefit for herself,
Yeah.
then why is she doing it? You know what I'm saying? She was no longer doing it. Like she was literally at the point where she's creating new moves. Like I'm just having fun with it at this point. And it's kind of like that quote, when I'm not having fun with it, I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. Yeah.
this is exactly what that goes back to.
Yeah.
And she has her own gym. Like she could probably create her own little league of Olympics if she wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for everybody or just for gymnasts. And so I definitely think she's probably at a place to where she could just watch and help other people win. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like she's so decorated when she does that picture with all her gold medals
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
and she's just holding all of them. You can't even try to count all of them because
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
so many stacked on top.
Yeah.
So just
And
shout out
she's
to her
good.
and kudos to her for being a big enough person to realize that it requires me taking a step back. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us probably wouldn't have had the balls to do that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
takes some courage because so many people are rooting for you, and a lot of us may have underlying selfish intentions and wanted that acknowledgement, that recognition. Oh, I got to be the best. So
Yeah.
that's a big person. And the tennis player Naomi Osaka
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
kind of went through had a similar story where she had to back out the competition as well. And I remember when I just read upon it briefly. The article was just saying she was just going to take time with family and friends so that she could, just be truly happy. And that's big. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like the thing that got, the hobby or craft that they have that brought them all this attention in the first place and was their sense of happiness brings you all this like chaos, you know what I'm saying? You do have to like just take a step back. And that applies to anything. Like whether you're an athlete, an artist, a musician, whatever your trade may be, you know what I'm saying? If you're no longer happy with it, you do have to take a step back and maybe, refine those passions or just do it for yourself instead of the competition aspect, like whatever it may be.
Yeah. I want to ask you as a young lady, Kyrie, even more so. I mean, let's just be honest. Men deal with their mental health issues. Generally speaking, I'm speaking generally. Some of us. I'm reading this book a while ago. It's for married couples. It's called "Men Are Waffles, Women Are Spaghetti." And basically saying that, and I'll find the author's name and make sure I give him it's a couple actually. I give them the shout out. So I'll bring that back up and before we close out the show. It's just men compartmentalize things. We compartmentalize things like when we're going through things, especially in this case dealing with a married couple. A man may go work, or he's going having a bad day. He go work on the car. He's in the garage fixing something, doing some landscaping, or just going golf or something, because men compartmentalize. But then it's still it has nothing to do with their regular function. So everything this is work, this is the house, this is the chores, this is just my little free time, golf, or whatever the case may be. Whereas ladies are more entangled, like spaghetti.
Yeah. And this definitely may be tapping into another topic here, and we could probably open up another episode or segment on this. But just me, as I'm coming into my adulthood and I want to be like the best that I can be, one thing that I know for a fact is emotional intelligence. And women lack that for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to get to a place where we can become emotionally intelligent and keep our emotions in check and not act out of emotion. And just like naturally, as growing up, guys can disagree about something and then, all right, we're going to go hoop afterwards. Whereas girls, I'm still gonna be your friend, but I still need to take some time and no, I don't want to hang out with you afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Or what I'm saying? I need my space or whatever the case may be.
But that's not necessarily saying anything is wrong with that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the beauty of the book. The beauty of the book, even though it's like I said, it's more for couples, but it's just the nature of men and women. That we complement each other.
Yeah.
If both of us were like waffles, that'd be like boring. Like, you're always in your own space.
Be some crybabies, so you do need that,
exactly.
that balance.
So you need that balance. You know what I'm saying? If both of us waffles, we always in our own space. So we're never gonna add up to like Tetris. You know what I'm saying? And if, like you said, if both of us. Now, I'm not gonna say crybabies. I'm not gonna disrespect the ladies out there and say crybaby. You said it. Kyrie said it, ladies and gentlemen. This person on this side of the screen, she said it. Let me make sure I'm pointing the right way. There she go, right there. That lady right there. She said it.
Know exactly what I'm talking about. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Like we
she said it
with ourselves because it's just like, I'm frustrated and I'm mad and I'm crying and I can't even help these tears that are coming out sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely if it's that time of the month. Oh my gosh,
that's what I'm asking you.
You're crying because you saw a squirrel get hit on the side of the road. You know what I'm saying? So we are just naturally emotional beings, and some of us do tend to, have to fall to tears more than others may have to. So those crybabies out there, they know what I'm talking about. No shade, no shade at all.
That's what I want you to answer before we go to break. As a lady, from your perspective, we talked about 3 young ladies here. We talked about I want to make sure I say it. Shikari. We're talking about Simone. And we talked about the young lady with tennis, 3 ladies, and just talk for yourself. And if you want to say it after break, or generally speaking, I'm not saying for you to put your business out there, but how do you, with just a simple mental, we're not talking about anything major, depression or anything, just mental toughness, or how do you handle things when there's challenges, when you may not really, really be feeling it today? Because here's the thing. Here's what I'm saying. Because if you injured your arm, Kyrie, if you broke your arm, right, and your job or duty is to type in, and you broke your arm, right, you're going to take what, the day off, or you're going to go to the doctor. Of course, first you go to the doctor, get your arm, then you're going to take the day off.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we, and this is the stereotype, and this is the stigma with mental health, is why is it that when someone is in a mental breakdown, or is not there mentally or emotionally, whatever the case may be, we tell them, hey, just tough it up. So they got to come to work, and they don't feel that they're not mentally there. But if they broke their arm, we say, oh, and we send cards, get well, we hope you feel better. So I want to hear your opinion on that as a young lady, how you have dealt with your challenges. My lemonade is kicking in. Your challenges as a young lady, and mental toughness, the challenges as a young lady dealing with mental toughness. You
That's
can
what I was just
answer
getting.
now or before we go on break.
Talking about like emotional intelligence, I am working on become a more emotional intelligent adult, just
Okay.
so that I'm not responding to people out of emotion, or reacting to people out of emotions, or making decisions based on emotion, but like based on, like, just facts and whatever the best interest for the people involved may be. It's crazy because last night I actually just recently had a really emotional situation with my little sister, and like, things may have been said in the moment, but after, taking time to cool down, I'm able to be a lot more level-headed after the situation. I'm able to realize, okay, I played this role in the situation, you played this role in the situation, and I'm able to, like, analyze, okay, this is what I should do going forward. You know what I'm saying? And the same applies to any situation. And what I should do going forward is take that step back first, so that I can analyze the situation properly, so that I can say what I want to say based on the situation itself, and not based on what you said to me, in the heat of the moment. So I just think that I would like to work on taking that step back to allow you to cool down, you know what I'm saying, before you actually respond to the situation. And also remembering to respond for communication. They always often ask, like, why are you responding? And I'm like, well, I usually am talking or having a conversation because I want genuine communication, So just making sure that I don't know how I want to say this. I guess just making sure that whatever you're doing has a purpose and is being effective. You know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't be going back and forth, and it's just like not good communication. You know what I'm saying? So just making sure that that's what I was saying to my friend last night. I'm a communicator. You know what I'm saying? So you can always communicate with me.
Yeah.
I may not understand what you're saying right then and there, but I know I can go and cool off, and from a more level-headed perspective, understand what you're saying. Like, I'm a communicator at heart. I want to communicate. I'm like, no, we're not going to stop talking about this until we get to the bottom of it. And I know that everyone, and another thing that I should know is everybody isn't that way. You know what I'm saying? So you may have to give people their own space and let them communicate in their own way. But as long as it's effective and it's healthy, you know what I'm saying, then that's what it comes down to. So yeah, I'm definitely working on my mental health on a daily basis too. I think that's another thing that helps, is remembering that it's not just it starts before it gets to the point of mental illness. You know what I'm saying? Like, mental illness is probably most times, if it's not genetic, a result of not taking care of your mental health, leading to certain things, to dependency to feel better, and then a lot of times that turns to addiction. Or a mental illness. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely making sure that I make my mental health a priority every day, on a small, like, momentary scale. Like, okay, how am I feeling right now? How can I change that? Because some of the books that I'm reading, they let you know that your emotions are controlled by your thoughts, and you essentially control your thoughts. We have about 70,000 plus thoughts that run through our head every day, but you can control the ones that are there 90% of the time. You know what I'm saying? And how do you respond to negative thoughts, or thoughts that you don't want to stay in your mind? You just immediately rebuke that thought and replace it with something better, which should have been there. So I'm just making sure that I keep my thoughts positive, my mind positive, and stuff like that, so that I can feel the same energy that I want to be projected, if that makes sense.
No. It does. It makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. And after we come back from break, I can share some ways I've had to handle it, especially as a black man, the challenges and so forth. Because I just want our listeners to know that we're all in this together. And yes, it's now in the limelight with our athletes, from basketball, from Olympics and tennis and so forth, are saying, listen, I'm suffering. You're not the only person out there suffering. I'm suffering too. I may be making zillions of dollars. I may be in the limelight. I may be top celebrity, top at my field, but I suffer mental health. And we want to let people know, before we go to break, it's okay to say I'm not okay. It's okay for you to say, that I'm not okay. It's okay. And that's what our athletes are putting out there now in like, hey, I'm not okay. I'm taking the day off today.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna be used as y'all pawn for your entertainment. I'm not doing well. And we'll talk more about that. How, back in the days, people were told to tuck it in, tuck it in. Don't let them see you sweat. What I'm saying? Just tuck it in, especially black people, Hispanic people, and so forth. Don't just tuck it in. So we'll talk more about that when we come back from our break. This is the KDGXYZ podcast with Kyrie and Denry. He has the better teeth than me. Yeah. But I've got a better smile.
I don't know
We
about
will
that.
be right back. We'll be
All right,
right back.
guys.
We'll be back with more of the KDGXYZ podcast with Kyrie and Denry.
And we're back, guys, with our "What Does It Mean to Be Human" episode. Right before break, we left off talking about some of the athletes and just the things that they have been going through in the limelight, and how we can all kind of like relate to some of these things. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the things that you deal with when you're grieving, how you handle situations that are out of your control, because it's Simone Biles situation that was kind of out of her control.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then what do you do with those situations going forward? You know what I'm saying? The things that we lead on sometimes can lead to dependency. Are we making the healthiest decisions going forward? And yeah, you were gonna tell us a little bit about how you felt about, how you're dealing with it on an everyday scale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as a man, because sometimes you guys can be a little emotionally constipated. Sometimes.
Yeah, we are contemplating a lot of things.
Yeah. LOL.
So before we talk about any more potty jokes, Kyrie, thank you. Yeah, me personally, I can't speak for every. I think generally speaking, a lot of men do not deal with emotions well. And here's what I'm saying: ladies cry, and I'm just generally speaking, okay. To no offense to, because I know things have changed now. You can't say things generally no more. You can't just use even the term mother, woman, man, girl, because everything is changing now. You got to use a whole bunch of different pronouns, and that's okay. Life is about change. All right. The only thing that's consistent is God's love for us. All right. So, get my thought there. What I was saying was, as for me, I don't normally do take care of my mental health well. Because some of the good things that I do, when I do them, is go work out. I spend a day in the gym. Sometimes I'm there 2 hours. I lift the whole entire gym just and get away. I play my music. I blast up loud. I don't like to work out at the house because sometimes there's stressor at the house, and it's not just the family. Families are, and the word stress, folks. Just want people to understand the words. We have stress every day. Everything is stress. When you eat, put stress to your body. Life is stress. It's stress management. That's the problem. We don't manage stress right, and so that's why people become stressed out. So everything in life, ever since sin entered into this world, and I'm not being biblical, I'm just telling you the truth. It is, right? Stress has entered the world. and it's how we manage that stress. And mismanagement of stress causes us to be stressed out or burned out. So what I do when I'm on good, when I'm doing good, is go to the gym or go play golf. I pick up golf again, or go take out my kids and we go outside and we just go play. Notice, all of those, my mind is not, into it. Or once in a while, very once in a while, I'll write or do some video editing, something that is just like fun.
Yeah.
Podcasting. I do the podcast. This is why I would do this. My second podcast here. So I can just, get an opportunity to talk, to be heard.
Yeah, for sure.
To feel important to somebody, to the thousands and thousands of people who listen to the Kyrie and Denry Bridging the Gap podcast. Thank you for listening to us, our listeners out there. So that's how I deal with it in the good way. How I deal in the bad way, sometimes I overeat, oversleep. Sometimes binge watch movies, TV. Netflix and oh my goodness, Hulu. Oh my goodness. Shout out to y'all. Y'all should give us. They should start paying us, Kyrie, for the amount of times that when I binge watch them.
I get it. I used to come home, get off work at 11 o'clock, and I would be up till 6, 7 a.m. watching the sun come up because I could not pull away from my show. So yeah.
So that's how generally speaking, a lot of men deal with it. If they're married, some just the sex. That's why I say compartmentalize. Whereas women, is tied into the emotions. So I don't feel like having sex tonight. Men is like, look, I need to have it to relieve my mind. Shower, take a good shower. Just take a good shower. Find something different, something healthy. That's what I'm just suggesting to you all.
Right.
Find something, whether you're man or lady, a healthy environment to relieve yourself of stress. To get back yourself, the pieces of your life together, to get some peace. Find healthy ways to do that.
And I think one thing that stood out to me as you were talking is the first step, and this, I mean, honestly, really goes back to anything, but the first step is to even acknowledge what are those triggers that may be leading to bad habits, what I'm saying, that'll cause those mental illnesses later on down the line, or just I don't want to keep saying mental illnesses because that's like more on the extreme end, but even before we get down on that end of the spectrum, like the depression, the anxiety, I know it causes some people to not be able to sleep. I don't know if that's insomnia, but just all those different side effects that are now eating your body alive, literally. You know what I'm saying? The health side effects. You know what I'm saying? The way stress eats away at your organs. So I think the first step would be kind of self-awareness and acknowledging, okay, this is who I am as a person. These are the things that I'm dealing with. So how can I make sure that I'm happy with my outcome at the end of the day? And that'll also lead to you making sure that you make healthy decisions with how you lead with the things that you are dealing with. Something just going back after talking about the athletes in the Olympics and everything. I know we did kind of just briefly talk about how there were some trans in the Olympics this year as well. And that kind of brought like a little bit of confusion with if they were born a man, they may naturally be stronger than women. And, that's kind of its own episode in itself. But I just kind of wanted to bring to our attention, everything with the LGBT community and the binary, gender neutral pronouns that's coming about. One artist that I'm pretty fond of, Demi Lovato, she was talking about that as well. Now she is non-binary, so she refers to herself as them and they. And I know that can be a little bit confusing, but at the end of the day, when we do have these people in our communities, in the workplace, in our families, and in our friend circles, I feel like it's important to just make at the end of the day, because definitely being Black and being a part of a minority group, these topics can be, and I know how it can affect their mental health on an everyday basis. So I just wanted to bring that to our attention because I know that's pretty new, and a lot of people don't understand. Like I myself, I don't fully understand it, but I can at least just get to a common ground and understand. Like, okay, just keep it neutral. It's not a he or she thing. Just keep it neutral. How do you feel about that?
Well, yeah, I didn't know we was gonna start jumping into that today, but I definitely see referring to mental health, the stress on that.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it, even for the transgender athlete themselves, their identity, the challenges, even for the other athletes. Okay, you know this person is now, we have to respect this person's identity and who this person is. I'm not comfortable, I may not be comfortable, I may be okay, so I mean, it's the things are changing, and the honest beautiful thing about your generation and the younger generation is that people are being more open now, whereas older
Yeah.
generations,
Yeah.
it was like shh,
Yes.
anything from mental health, from your sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
from addictions, shh.
Yes.
It was about showing face,
Mm-hmm.
how we look, let's just, don't let them see you sweat, as I mentioned before, never let
Right.
them see you sweat. Now it's like people are like, listen, this is who I am. I'm still trying to figure out who I am, but I'm just gonna let
Yeah.
everybody know this is what I'm at right now. So
Right.
today I might be this, and tomorrow I might be that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I have mental health issues. Don't bother me today. Maybe I can take a call tomorrow. So it's more now. People are more open now,
Right.
and it's a beautiful thing. And I mean, it has both sides. Because some people could just use that as the reason to get out of anything now.
Yeah.
But then there are really people who have these real issues, real matters, and we do not want to downplay that. You
Right.
know, I think
No, I
so. That's
totally
that's just
agree.
my point on that. Kyrie and I would love to hear some feedback from you, comments, questions, and even suggestions for future show. Email us at kdgenxyz@gmail.com. That's kdgenxyz@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. And I think one of the other things is just, I mean, this COVID thing. This
Yeah.
COVID has caused new mental health. I think I mentioned it.
Yes, I
Yeah,
agree. New
yeah,
mental health issues. Yes.
yeah.
It's so crazy because I literally remember the conversation I was having with someone who I would consider closer to me than others. I have been a victim of vaccine shaming. And
Mm,
I'm just like super probably still a little bit hurt about it because there is so much confusion surrounding this pandemic, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
some people, I don't even want to get into whether it may be propaganda or not. That's a whole nother episode and can of worms right there. However, like when it comes to everything in real life, period, I just wasn't expecting people to be so judgmental. But then when you have the
mm,
president coming out with a whole speech about how, well, what was the quote? I just read it. We have a pandemic for those who haven't gotten the vaccination. It's that basic and that simple. So
yeah,
only the non-vaccinated are in a pandemic, even though there are vaccine-resistant strains.
yeah,
That none of that make sense to me, and I just think it's important to you may have whatever views on the disease and the vaccine and everything else around COVID-19, but like I wasn't expecting people to be so judgmental about it, but that's just because of how the media is portraying it.
yeah.
So
I mean, for you got to look in. I tried. One of the things I tried to do, um, so I don't seem judgmental, is try to look into the eyes of all parties. All three sides. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in a conversation, there's an argument. I try to see, okay, what's going on here? From their perspective, hey, this is just me. I
mhm,
can't speak for them, but just trying to see from their eyes. You are the leader of the free world, whatever the case may be. And this crisis or this pandemic has taken, what, 800,000 lives and counting. And you're like, listen, man, let's get this vaccine. It's out. It's been tested, quote unquote tested. Okay, quote
mhm,
and quote tested.
mhm.
And let's take it. Take it. If you are American, take it. And so if you don't take it, then that's what I don't like. I don't like that even Trump was doing that. Oh, it's un-American for you. Like one thing about America is freedom. It's
Exactly.
always been a freedom. Like I
Exactly.
have the freedom to speak. I have the freedom to religion. I can disagree and agree. You know what I'm saying? That does not
Right.
make me un-American
Right.
just because I don't support your agenda. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
That's probably one of the few things about this country that I can agree with.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And so with the vaccine shaming thing, and then you have the other side. The other side now are like those of you taking the vaccine. You have some people say it's the mark of the beast. Some people say you're putting a chip in your body. You're better magnetic. You're a guinea pig. And so some people are shaming people who taking
Who
vaccine.
get the vaccine? Yeah.
And so then people who take the vaccines are shaming people who don't take the vaccine. So once again, America's divided.
Mm-hmm.
America's divided. You know,
Definitely.
Fast
Definitely.
forward, rewind, what, last year, the year before, it was with the police brutality. Some people say, hey, let's love the cops, even if they
All lives
beat,
matter and Black
yeah,
lives
yeah, let's love the cops, even if they bust us in the head, and then some
matter.
people said, no,
I
no,
mean, yeah,
let's,
we had America divided all through Trump's presidency.
yeah, exactly. So once again, we got part two of America Divided, but this now it's vaccine shaming,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
vaccine shaming. And that's causing mental issues. Think about it too. You have your common teenager who's trying to get back into sports and school and whatever. Their parents are saying, hey, we're not going to take the vaccine. But the school is saying, okay, I just saw a tweet today. California is the first state to make it mandatory for teachers and staff to take, this is from CNN, so you could check the source, to take the vaccine or regular schedule tests. So they have to either do one or two. So for teachers and staff going back to school, they have to take that vaccine, mandatory or regular uh, tests, regular
Yeah.
tests.
My uncle works for the school system in Georgia, and he did have to take the vaccine earlier this year. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy. And even my little brother, he was playing football, and my mom decided that she wasn't gonna let him play this year
it's a lot
because
of stress, dude.
yeah, and it was unfortunate for me too because I was excited to go back to the games and football season. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But I totally understand because it's not worth the risk. One
yeah,
of the other boys on the team, his mom was telling my mom the boy plays track as well, and she was saying how by the end of the track meet, and I believe they were in Florida. I'm not 100% sure, but wherever the track meet was, by the end of the meet that weekend, over 1,000 kids had come up with the virus, had tested positive for the virus. And because there is so much uncertainty and so many things to be unsure about, I can definitely see why my mom is just like, I'd rather be safe than sorry.
yeah,
It's not that worth it for me to have you play football.
yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
because the virus took a gap last year,
yeah,
so they didn't play. A lot of the teams are like linking up all in the same field and all under the same like recreation center or whatever. So it's packed. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like it's already a
yeah,
close contact sport, but it's
yeah,
it's packed. Like you're gonna be shoulder to shoulder at the bleachers and everything like that. And one thing that I did like that Corona brought to like real life is just the extra sense of washing your hands and cleanliness. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like
Which we should have been doing a long time ago, right?
been doing already. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like businesses and things like that should have already been taking those extra precautions to keep things clean and wiped down. And people should already be making sure that they don't sneeze into the air because hello,
yeah,
like
yeah.
we're out here. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot that goes on with this vaccine. Like it's
Yeah.
really real life after Corona. Like you know what I'm saying? It's a
It's
new
gonna
normal.
get ready to read books. You probably, I don't know if you can invest in psychology, financially. That's a stock or whatever. I'm not sure, but there's gonna be some post traumatic stress disorder from this coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to. I'm you talking about from children, from adults, from
Yeah.
people now. There are people now that just don't feel safe. You already have people who have paranoia
Mm-hmm.
already, and then social paranoias and so forth. And there's people that don't like to be around people. There's germophobic people. So
Mm-hmm.
now this is just 10,000 times enhanced that.
Yeah,
And even
definitely.
with some places reopening, and then you're hearing, oh, there's new strands, there's the Delta, there's the Gamma, there's the Lambda. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, there's people like, yo, I'm shutting myself from the
Right.
world.
You have people who aren't seeing their family. I was talking to someone.
By the way, guys, I just want to let you know, Kyrie loves to cut me off. You know, it's just something about them younger millennials. They just love cutting. You know, I don't know why. You know,
I feel like, you know what I'm saying, you're coming to the end of your point, and I'm just, piggybacking off what you were saying.
No.
I don't even remember what my point was. So
go ahead, I'm messing with you, girl.
I don't even know what I was about to say. Don't know.
Then don't cut people off then. If you don't know what you're gonna say, I'm messing with her.
As you guys go on, you will definitely find that he is the talker. I can't even this one right here. He's the talker out of us.
I'm here for the eye candy. Kyrie's is the intelligence. I'm just the beauty. I'm just the beauty. Kyrie's the intelligence. But what I was saying was just you are gonna have children, adults who, let's say, fast forward 10 years from now, are gonna be dealing with these disorders. You have people still struggling from 9/11. Who were in the building, who escaped, who had to survive, who had family members, and people who at home were watching it. There are people who still see Muslim people as a threat, or someone who looks different and looks like they're Arabian or something like that as a threat just because of 9/11.
And I say we as a society will look at, the Muslim or the Arabics and be like, he might have a bomb, even if we're just making a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
And that may have affected some of their mental health for the ones that live here in America.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, now they have to be like, oh, snap, are they judging me? You know what I'm saying? Are they making jokes? Is this because of the stereotype that surrounds them because of that virus? Not the virus, because of that incident.
Yeah, and then too, we forget another demographics: people who have had COVID. You know what I'm saying? They're fear now. For some people, when they went through it, even though they survived, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Some people was like a common cold.
Some people, were able to be asymptomatic, but some people went through it. Yeah. So
and then think about it. Like, if you were in the group, or you were with a group of people of 10 people, right? And you were the one who was the super spreader, and you didn't know you had COVID, but 3 of those people end up dying. That guilt that you're gonna have to deal with now. Like, we were just getting together. Hey, we didn't know, I didn't know I had COVID, and now such and such is, you know what I'm saying? And so going back to the vaccine, it's like, that's the challenge. It's like, well, should I take the vaccine? But I'm not sure. The FDA didn't approve it, and so forth. So it's like that, man. I'm telling you, Kyrie, get ready. I don't know if there's any way to put money on psychology, the studies that's going to be the whatever. I don't know how, but just get ready to know that there is going to be a post-traumatic stress disorder specifically related to post-COVID.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. Definitely with this wave that we're in, right now. My mom, we were planning to go to Florida soon, and my mom was just saying, well, let's keep an eye out on the numbers, because Florida is like the first place, one of the first places to start having those cases start spiking because it's so touristy. It's crazy. Life after COVID, man. Somebody might need to make a docu-series.
Yeah. Maybe you need to do it, girl. Go ahead and do it, man. Stop playing around. Don't wait for somebody else to do it.
Maybe that's us. Maybe we'll get into the documentary world too. But life after COVID, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I have that conversation with my coworkers all the time because, like us being in the workplace, with that possible exposure all the time, we're always just like saying like what we would do and just making sure we keep our masks and gloves on just because, you know what I'm saying, we are in that public environment.
The other thing, families, who haven't seen each other for a while.
And that's what I was gonna say. I think someone in my business had stopped she would see her dad. She lives here in Atlanta, and her parents live in Macon, and she hasn't even seen her parents in months. And they're so not that far apart. Like Macon and Atlanta is about an hour 30. And people aren't seeing each other because of this, because they're scared and they just don't want that possibility of, giving it to someone. Definitely if they're in that high risk zone for contracting the virus. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And then people who didn't get to see their loved ones, like if your grandmother was in say Arizona, and
Mm-hmm.
you're in New York during the whole lockdown, and unfortunately she passed for whatever reason, just natural
Mm-hmm.
causes. People will be like, man, I didn't get to see it. It's gonna be rough. I'm just letting you know
Yeah.
it's gonna be rough. You know what I'm saying? But here's some hope. Here's some hope. We're gonna get through, people. One thing, those of you believers in God, a higher power, a creator, you know what I'm saying, specifically Christians and people who just children of God, we
Mm-hmm.
know that these things are just part of things leading up to the return of Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? And so, we have our hope. We know that this he said these things going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
but we know that, hey, death is temporary, and we can't live in fear, especially if
Mm-hmm.
you believe in God. Those of you who don't believe in God, I don't want to discredit you. I just encourage you to go and seek counseling,
Yeah.
peer groups. There's support groups. There's therapists, counselors. Yeah, you might want to go talk to your family members. You could talk to them about some things, but remember, they're going through the same pain you're going through, and they're not experts at counseling. So
Right.
I just advise you to go to counsel, go seek counseling. I seek
Mm-hmm.
counsel myself, so go see counsel, whatever you're going through, whether it's your agenda, whether there's COVID, whether some mental illnesses you have from traumas or whatever, or you just need someone to talk to.
Right.
Sometimes, Kyrie, it's not necessary that you have a mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
You just going through some things, and you
Mm-hmm.
just need someone to just listen to you, so
Mm-hmm.
you can just put things together in your life, put the puzzles together, pieces of the puzzles
Mm-hmm.
together in your life.
A lot of the times I need that listening ear, and I can kind of process things on my own, like
Yeah,
as I was saying, I think I was saying this earlier. Me and my sister had got into a little argument, and as I was venting to a family member about the situation, I was able to kind of literally process the whole thing and see the role that I played in the argument and how I would wish I would have handled it, and what I'm saying, where exactly that moment changed that I could have, what I'm saying, like prevented the situation from escalating. So
yeah,
sometimes you do just need that listening ear, and you're able to just replay back the situation, reanalyze. So sometimes I don't even like necessarily need any advice. I just needed you to listen
yeah,
and calm me down after the moment so that I can process things more
yeah,
rationally. And you have also encouraged me to look into talking with an expert about these certain things, because as I am, getting into my adulthood and wanting to be more mature in my better self or my best self, I'm learning that, okay, when I get into certain situations, I'm realizing this about myself, and that may be a cause from XYZ.
yeah,
So it may even help, or it may speed up that process to have someone help me do those things. Or once you realize something about yourself, like what do you do going forward? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
Maybe finding solutions or finding things that help, or different things that you lean on for your mental health. Like we were talking about earlier, writing. That's something that I'm going to pick up more on the side.
hmm
And I feel like kind of just answering that question for ourselves really helps on
yeah,
that. Like, okay, let me start to work on my mental health. What does it mean to be human? You know what I'm saying? So that we
yeah,
all kind of, like, as a community and as a whole, we can at least have some kind of common ground. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
whether there's an agreement or a disagreement or an argument, or um just two different sides of a situation, we can at least respect each other. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I feel like that's what it means to be human, is to respect. It's a level of respect that you have for the people in your society, the people in community, people in your family. Like, it's a level of respect. I feel like that's what it means to be human. And for me, in my definition, that's what separates something from being like good and inhumane. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's the respect that may or may not be there.
yeah. And that's why when if even though it maybe seem like the worst example I guess I can give, if you kill somebody, which I hope you don't, I really hope you don't.
I
If
ain't a killer,
someone
but
if
don't push me. No, I'm just
if someone takes a gun and shoots someone, compared to someone takes a knife and stabs someone, do you know they give you more time for stabbing because they consider it as crime of passion,
Mm-hmm.
especially, if they've shown victims who have been stabbed multiple times, and sometimes it's like up to like 70 something times.
And that anger is definitely coming from within.
Exactly. Comparison to somebody just pulling a trigger and maybe shot you one time and you die. It could be an accident, it could be self-defense, or just straight murder, but when somebody's like, what I'm saying, especially, and you've seen that in like a lot of domestic violence situation where the spouse has been abused, and a lot of times it's the female, not negating males that are abused, where the spouse who's been abused is fed up and finally had it, and then tried to get help and no one was listening, and then in the moment of self-defense, that passion. You see what I'm saying? And so people look at it like, man, that's so inhumane, like, you're like, you didn't have no respect for the person's body. But going back to what you're saying, the whole mental breakdown, this person was like, probably was like, yo, you didn't have any respect for my body when you were alive. The way you treated me like I was less than a dog and stuff like that, kicking me, so it ties into that whole respect. What does it mean to be human? It means human, like you said, Kyrie. I love that. For me, being human, I guess I definitely have to agree with what you're saying. I guess I have to agree with you on this one. Being human is respecting and accepting. Respected and accepted.
That's a big one. I might not be on that acceptance yet, because I can't agree to disagree, but I might not accept it.
Yeah. Accepting your decision.
Yeah.
I might disagree with it, but I still accept you for who you are. Okay, that's what you have chosen to do, but I'm not going to treat you ill now. You know what I'm saying? I may not approve of homosexual marriages or relationship, whatever, but does that mean that I ill treat you? Does that mean that when you come in my presence, I got to make up my face? Does that mean that, I look at you as a scum of the earth? No. I treat you with the love, the respect, and I've accepted you for your decision, right? I may not agree with your decision. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So
you can accept that that's the decision that they
made. That's what you have made. You know what I'm saying? So I still treat you like I would want to be treated. That's my golden rule. That's the biblical
golden
rule too.
It still stands to this day. Literally.
Yeah. Treat people the way you want to be treated. You know what I'm saying?
Everything like racism, discrimination in the workplace, like
mental health.
Just make that put that in the Constitution, okay? Somebody.
Matter of fact, that should be the only thing in the Constitution.
Right, literally, because what else are you talking about in here? Like what?
Yeah, if you listen, if that's all what the Constitution was about, trust me.
I'm gonna call Biden. I'm gonna let him know next time.
Things would be better, Yeah. Sexism, respect, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast to our listeners. The KDXYZ podcast group. We're listening. We're trying to bridge the gap because we know that the different generations don't agree.
Right.
We haven't been seen eye to eye. The baby boomers, the busters, the Generation X's, the millennials, the Generation Z, and then this alpha generation coming up. We don't see eye to eye. Everybody think their generation is the best. And so this is why Kyrie and I are doing this, to bridge the gap, to bring the generations together. To say, hey, you can disagree. It's okay to disagree, but we treat each other with respect.
Treat each other equal.
And accept the person's decision. That's you have the right, God-given right, to say, I don't want to go that way. I don't agree with you, but you know what? I'm still going to treat you with love and respect.
And a lot of the times, I feel like it comes down to us getting educated. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we have negative viewpoints on something that we aren't educated about. You know what I'm saying? So that dislike may come from our own ignorance sometimes. And also, like you said, just going back to why we're doing this podcast anyways, it's just like level the playing fields so that we all know we both had 11:30 alarms. So that we all know that, you know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, your generation may view something because of the things that were going on in society that time, and that kind of goes into that like nature versus nurture thing as to how the generations think and how they move and we move like this because of who was raising us and stuff like that. So just allowing everyone to understand, get educated, you know what I'm saying, and then just being able to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes understanding someone's viewpoint may help you to, you know, have a better outlook on something.
Yeah.
So, that's all the point of this conversation is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we're talking, but we also want to make sure that we're educating and bringing a meaningfulness to things that, you know, may not be there.
Yeah. Well, Thea, thanks, Kyrie. You did good for your first complete show.
Okay. We have been doing this.
I didn't have to lead you the whole way this time.
First of all, y'all, he been doing this. It's okay. And this little platform was so cool. I can't wait to drop this episode.
So we thank y'all so much for tuning into the Kyrie and Denry Bridging the Gap.
Yes, definitely looking out for y'all's feedback from this episode too. I want to hear how y'all define mental health. I want to hear, you know, some of the things you may be struggling with. We may be able to, you know, have some of our listeners on so that we can really just, you know, get to the nitty gritty of this conversation, because I really do want you guys to like understand how our mental health is a daily, everyday, like moment to moment thing. You know what I'm saying? Like every time something upsets you or like any little emotion affects your mental health, period. You know what I'm saying? And I just want everyone to understand that. And then I feel like if we begin to understand our own mental health, we can, you know, begin to help other people.
Yeah. You know, I mean, as Kyrie's saying, like, you know, be patient. If you want people to be patient with you, you really need to be patient with them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm putting it out here for you all. If you want to contact us, give us some feedback, give us your input, you know, with your thoughts on mental health.
I'm waiting, literally. I'm waiting to hear from you guys.
Yeah. Kyrie is going to answer the email. I have enough emails to answer. Kyrie is going to answer those emails. Okay. I got better things to do than answer y'all email.
He just playing, y'all. He want to hear from y'all. He just playing.
You see the email there. So if you want to reach out to us, some opinions, some views, whether you like the show and you don't like the show, like I said, hey, we got to respect and accept, right, Kyrie?
You know, I might not like how you said it, but I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that critique, and I'm gonna make the show better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then
say it with love, please. Say it with love, okay?
Yeah. Please be nice.
We don't want Kyrie to be like, you know what? I'll never do podcasts again. I can't say like there'd be like 1,000. We love your show, and one person be like, I can't stand you.
No, but I'm sure if it's something that they didn't like, I'm sure it was you anyway. So you know what I'm saying? Don't be offended. No, I'm just kidding. But KDGENXYZ, so KDGenXYZ@gmail.com. That's also our Instagram as well. So check us out on Instagram. I'm gonna be dropping a snippet soon for this episode. So that's KDGenXYZ@gmail and KDGenXYZ on Instagram. Check us out, follow us. We will follow you back. And let's engage, you guys. Thanks so much for checking out our episode.
Yeah, thanks for rocking with us, and we will see you all next time.
Next time.
Peace.
Week.